Lovely viewers, gather around, because what we're about to dive into is one of the most dramatic, emotional, and heart-racing moments that the world of Korean entertainment has witnessed in recent times. Imagine this. You're enjoying a romantic evening with your partner, having an intimate family dinner, only to have your past walk right through the door and shake the entire table. That's exactly what happened when Song Joong-ki unexpectedly crashed the romantic family dinner of Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo. This wasn't just any dinner, dear friends. This was supposed to be one of those warm, private nights filled with laughter, love, and family bonding. But in an instant, everything turned into chaos, leaving fans stunned, confused, and desperate to know the truth behind what really went down. Let's talk about this unfolding story together. And as always, I'll need you to interact, share your thoughts, and let me know whose side you're on, because this is one of those moments where everyone sees things differently. Now picture the scene. Lee Min-ho, elegant and charismatic as always, had planned a simple yet romantic family dinner for Song Hye Kyo and their loved ones. It was said to be at a quiet, exclusive restaurant, where the lights were low, the mood was cozy, and the atmosphere screamed love and family bonding. Fans who have been following their story know how much effort Min-ho has been putting into making Hye Kyo feel secure, adored, and protected after all the storms she's weathered in the past. For him, this dinner wasn't just about food. It was about creating yet another memory, another layer of intimacy, and another proof to the world that they are standing strong together. Song Hye Kyo, graceful and glowing, had been looking forward to this dinner. Her closeness with Min-ho has grown so beautifully that even casual observers can see the sparkle in her eyes when she's around him. It's the kind of sparkle that says she feels at home, cherished and safe. The dinner started off perfectly, with laughter, gentle hand-holding under the table, and little exchanges of smiles that made everyone around them admire the love they've built. Their baby was even said to be present, making the whole atmosphere even more heartwarming. Everything seemed perfect, until the unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, Song Joong-ki appeared. Yes, viewers, Song Joong-ki, the man who once shared a life and a marriage with Hye Kyo, walked into that restaurant, and you can imagine the air getting heavy instantly. The staff, the guests, and of course, Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo were all visibly shocked. This wasn't something anyone had planned for. The moment Joong-ki stepped in, it was as if the room froze. Conversations stopped, forks paused mid-air, and all eyes turned toward him. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Now let's pause here for a moment and ask you, if you were in Song Hye Kyo's shoes, how would you have felt? Would you have been angry, embarrassed, or maybe even emotional seeing someone who once meant the world to you suddenly intrude on a moment that was supposed to belong to your present and your future? Comment your thoughts, because this is one of those dilemmas that really divide opinions. From what witnesses say, Joong-ki didn't walk in quietly or sit at a distance. No, he walked right up to the table where Min-ho, Hye Kyo, and the family were seated. His face was serious. His eyes filled with emotions that no one could quite read. Some say it was sadness, others insist it was regret, and a few even whisper that it was jealousy. Whatever it was, his presence immediately shifted the entire energy of the dinner. Lee Min-ho, being the gentleman that he is, reportedly tried to remain calm. Sources close to the scene describe how Min-ho placed a reassuring hand on Hye Kyo's, signaling to her that he was there and she didn't need to feel unsettled. But make no mistake, underneath that calm demeanor there was tension. After all, who wouldn't feel protective and even slightly territorial when their partners passed barges into their intimate family moment? The conversation that followed was short but filled with unspoken emotions. Joong-ki apparently greeted the family politely, but his eyes remained fixed on Hye Kyo. She, in turn, seemed caught between shock and composure. Imagine her heart racing. Here she was, with a man who's been making her feel alive again, only to suddenly face the man who once broke her heart. Witnesses say her hands trembled slightly, and Min-ho, noticing it, squeezed them gently as if to say, "I've got you." This, dear viewers, is where chaos truly set in. Reports suggest that Joong-ki might have said something along the lines of wanting to speak with Hye Kyo privately, which immediately created a wave of discomfort at the table. Imagine being there, watching your current partner and your ex-husband exchange words in front of your family. It's the kind of situation you wouldn't wish on anyone. Fans who later heard about this moment online instantly split into teams. Some sided with Joong-ki, arguing that he had unfinished business or unresolved feelings. Others backed Min-ho, saying Joong-ki had no right to crash such a private dinner and disrupt the peace Hye Kyo has been building. Now let me ask you, lovely viewers, Do you think Joong was wrong to appear at that dinner? Or do you believe he had the right to express himself regardless of the setting? Drop your answers in the comments because this is one of those questions where every opinion matters. As the night went on, the restaurant reportedly grew uneasy. Some diners even left early, not wanting to be caught in the middle of such high-profile tension. But here's what really stood out: Song Hye Kyo's strength. Despite the awkwardness and the emotional weight of the situation, she managed to stay composed. She reportedly told Joong calmly that this wasn't the right time or place for such conversations. Her words, while polite, carried firmness. She chose to protect the sanctity of her present relationship with Min-ho, rather than indulge in drama from the past. Lee Min-ho, of course, stood by her side throughout. Witnesses claim his eyes never left Hye Kyo, as though silently reminding her that he was there to shield her from any storm. Joong, after a few more moments of silence and perhaps realizing he had overstepped, eventually left the restaurant. But not without leaving behind a whirlwind of emotions, questions, and debates that still rage online today. Fans across social media platforms have been buzzing ever since. Some interpret Joong actions as desperation, a man who still hasn't fully let go of the woman he once loved. Others see it as disrespect, a blatant intrusion into a new chapter that doesn't involve him anymore. And then there are those who sympathize with all three. Joong for his lingering feelings, Hye Kyo for being caught in the middle, and Min-ho for having to protect his love while staying composed. The chaos of that night didn't just end in the restaurant. It spilled over into headlines, fan forums, and even international news outlets. Everyone wants to know, what was Joong real intention? Was it a cry for closure, a final attempt to rekindle something, or simply a miscalculated emotional impulse? And more importantly, what does this mean for Hye Kyo and Min-ho's relationship moving forward? From everything we've seen so far, Hye Kyo and Min-ho remain strong. If anything, this incident seems to have brought them closer, with fans noticing how Min-ho has been extra attentive and protective of Hye Kyo in recent days. Some even say this chaotic moment proved just how much Min-ho loves her, because instead of reacting with anger or confrontation, he chose to stand firm, calm, and supportive. That, dear viewers, is what true love looks like in the face of chaos. So now it's over to you, my amazing viewers. What do you think really happened that night? Was Joong out of line? Or was he simply acting out of unresolved feelings? Do you think Min-ho handled it perfectly? Or should he have been more confrontational? And most importantly, how do you think Hye Kyo feels in the middle of all this? I can't wait to read your thoughts because this story is more than just celebrity drama. It's a raw, real example of love, loss, and the complexities of moving on while the past still lingers. Lovely viewers, thank you for staying with me through this emotional roller coaster of a story. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more updates, because if there's one thing we know about this love triangle, it's that the story isn't over yet. Stay tuned for more, and until next time, keep spreading love, understanding, and positivity, no matter how chaotic life gets. After Joong unexpected intrusion, the entire narrative of Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo's romantic dinner shifted. What was supposed to be a private evening turned into a scene of raw emotions that the world couldn't stop talking about. And even though Joong eventually left the restaurant, his shadow lingered long after, raising questions that still divide fans to this day. When Joong stepped out into the night air, some witnesses claim he looked visibly shaken. Imagine carrying all those emotions, nostalgia, regret, love, maybe even jealousy, and realizing you just confronted the one person you lost, only to find her happy in the arms of another. That's a weight no one can easily carry. Some fans sympathize deeply with him, arguing that it takes incredible vulnerability for a man of his stature to show up like that, unannounced, exposing his heart so openly. Others, however, argued that this was selfish, that his timing was inappropriate and unfair to Hye Kyo, who has been rebuilding her life with Min-ho. Meanwhile, inside the restaurant, Lee Min-ho and Song Hye Kyo were left to deal with the aftermath. The cozy family atmosphere had been shattered, and even though Min-ho tried to lighten the mood afterward, everyone could feel the tension. Some family members reportedly tried to shift the conversation, joking lightly or ordering desserts to distract from what just happened. But let's be honest, when something that explosive occurs, it's impossible to pretend everything is fine. This is where Hye Kyo showed her true strength once again. She didn't crumble under the weight of the chaos. And she didn't allow the ghost of her past to dictate her present. Instead, she focused on Min-ho and their family, smiling through the awkwardness and making it clear with her body language that she was firmly rooted in the life she's building now. Witnesses say she leaned closer to Min-ho after Joong left, whispering something that made him smile faintly. That small gesture spoke volumes. It was her way of reassuring him that no matter how disruptive the evening had been, she was still choosing him. And let's talk about Min-ho's role here, lovely viewers, because this is where fans really rallied around him. Imagine being in his shoes. Your partner's ex-husband, a man the entire world knows, suddenly appears at your romantic family dinner. It would be so easy to lash out, to lose your composure, or to turn it into a public confrontation. But Min-ho didn't do any of that. He remained calm, dignified, and protective of Hye Kyo. Fans later praised him endlessly online, calling him the embodiment of grace under pressure. Some even said, "This is why Hye Kyo chose him, because he's not just a star. He's a man who knows how to handle storms with strength and patience." Now here's where things got even more interesting. After the dinner ended and the family quietly left the restaurant, paparazzi outside were quick to capture photos. They showed Min-ho holding Hye Kyo's hand tightly, guiding her to the car with their baby in tow. What caught everyone's attention was that Hye Kyo leaned against him as if drawing strength from his presence. Those images went viral instantly, with fans around the world interpreting them as proof that no matter the chaos, Min-ho and Hye Kyo's bond was unshakable. But the story doesn't end there, viewers. In the days following the dinner, rumors began to swirl about Joong's intentions. Some anonymous sources claimed he had been trying to reach out to Hye Kyo privately for weeks but hadn't succeeded, and that his sudden appearance at the dinner was a desperate attempt to be heard. Others suggested it wasn't about reconciliation at all, but rather closure. His way of saying goodbye in a dramatic, albeit ill-timed manner. On the other hand, whispers also emerged that certain people close to Joong advised him against such a move, fearing it would backfire. And indeed, for many fans it did. Social media debates turned into heated wars, with hashtags trending worldwide. Team Joong fans defended his vulnerability, saying love makes people do unpredictable things, while Team Min-ho fans slammed the intrusion as disrespectful and unnecessary. Neutral fans found themselves torn, empathizing with Joong's pain but still rooting for Hye Kyo's happiness in her present. And let's not forget the most important perspective in all this. Song Hye Kyo's. Lovely viewers, imagine being her for a second. You're at dinner with a man you've chosen to share your future with, surrounded by love and family, only to be pulled back into a chapter of your life you thought you'd closed. That's an emotional tug-of-war that no one deserves. And yet, the way she handled it, with grace, calmness, and loyalty to her present, shows us just how much she has grown. Fans flooded her fan pages with messages of support, praising her strength and encouraging her to keep focusing on the love she has now. Behind the scenes, insiders say Min-ho has been more protective of her since that night. He reportedly reassured her that no ghost from the past could ever shake what they have. That reassurance, dear viewers, seems to have deepened their relationship even further. Some fans even speculate that this chaotic dinner could become a defining moment for their love story, a test they pass together, proving they're unbreakable. But here's the million-dollar question. What happens next? Will Joong try again to reach out to Hye Kyo, or will he finally let her go? Will Min-ho and Hye Kyo address this publicly, or will they choose to keep it private, focusing on their love instead of the noise? One thing is certain. The world is watching, and fans will not stop talking about this anytime soon. So, lovely viewers, let me ask you again. What do you think Joong's true motive was that night? Was it a cry for love, a plea for closure, or just a spur-of-the-moment act of raw emotion? And more importantly, do you think this incident will make Min-ho and Hye Kyo even stronger, or will it bring hidden insecurities to the surface? Your thoughts matter, so don't hesitate to share them in the comments, because this is a story that thrives on perspectives. As we continue to watch this love triangle unfold, one thing is clear. Love, in all its beauty and chaos, has the power to stir emotions in ways we can't always predict. And while Joong-ki's crash turned a romantic dinner into a storm, it also reminded us of the fragile yet powerful nature of the human heart. Min-ho, Hye Kyo, and Joong-ki are all human at the end of the day, navigating love, regret, and the pursuit of happiness under the public eye. And that, dear viewers, is what makes this story so captivating. Lovely viewers, let's stretch this story further because, as I said in my last words, what makes this whole situation so captivating is not just the love triangle itself but the ripple effects. The fan reactions, the behind-the-scenes whispers in the industry, and the possible scenarios of how things could evolve in the near future. This dinner crash may have lasted only a few tense minutes, but the conversations it sparked have been going on for days and nights. And each layer reveals something new about the fragile balance between love, regret, and moving forward. Starting with fan reactions. Oh, lovely viewers, social media practically exploded. Within hours of the story breaking, hashtags like hashtag Song Joong-ki, hashtag Lee Min-ho, and hashtag Song Hye Kyo trended worldwide. Fan edits flooded TikTok and Instagram, with some painting Joong-ki as the tragic hero, a man who lost his great love and couldn't help but try one last time. Others turned Min-ho into the ultimate knight in shining armor, praising his calmness and his protective instincts. Then there were those heartbreaking fan posts sympathizing with Hye Kyo, calling her the woman in the middle of a storm she never asked for. Some fans even wrote long letters online, urging her to follow her happiness no matter what the world says, while others speculated wildly about whether she still harbors feelings for Joong-ki deep down. But the discussion didn't stop with fans. Industry insiders also started weighing in. According to whispers in the entertainment world, Joong-ki's unexpected move caught not only fans off guard but also producers and brand representatives. Think about it. These are three of the biggest names in Korean entertainment, and their personal lives affect entire business deals, endorsements, and productions. Some insiders reportedly worried that the dinner incident could create tension in future projects if the three ever cross paths professionally. Imagine the awkwardness if a drama or film were to bring them together again. Would it ignite fireworks on screen, or would it be too tense to handle? Meanwhile, others in the industry privately admired Hye Kyo and Min-ho for how they handled the aftermath. One source even described them as a couple who turned chaos into unity, because instead of letting the incident divide them, they walked out stronger, hand in hand, showing the world they were unshaken. That, in the entertainment world, is priceless, because it sends a message that their bond isn't just for cameras, it's real. Now, let's imagine the possible future scenarios, dear viewers, because this is where things get really interesting. Scenario 1. Joong-ki realizes his mistake, accepts that his time with Hye Kyo has passed, and finally chooses to move on. If this happens, we might see him redirect his energy into new projects or even into building a new relationship. Fans who love him would finally feel relief, knowing he has let go of the past. Scenario 2. Joong-ki doesn't give up. Instead, he continues to find ways to reach out to Hye Kyo, perhaps through letters, calls, or even through mutual friends. If this were to happen, things could get more complicated, especially for Min-ho. Imagine the pressure of knowing your partner's past keeps resurfacing. It would test even the strongest of relationships. But knowing Min-ho's patience and composure, some fans believe he would still handle it gracefully, never letting jealousy dictate his actions. Scenario 3. And this one, viewers, is what fans are buzzing about the most. What if this chaotic dinner forces Hye Kyo to finally address the situation publicly? She's been so private about her personal life, but an incident as big as this one might push her to release a statement or give an interview, clarifying where she stands once and for all. Can you imagine the reaction if she were to go on record saying, "I've moved on and my future is with Min-ho"? The internet would explode with both cheers and heartbreak. But there's also a gentler, more intimate possibility, that instead of a public statement, Hye Kyo chooses to let her actions speak louder than words. Already, we've seen how her body language with Min-ho speaks volumes. Perhaps in the coming days, we'll see more appearances, more affectionate moments, maybe even social media posts that make it clear where her heart truly lies. For fans, these little signs are more powerful than any official statement. Lovely viewers, let's not forget another element here, the baby. For Min-ho and Hye Kyo, Their child represents a fresh start, a bond that goes beyond romance into family. And for many fans, this is why Joong Ki's intrusion felt so disruptive, because it wasn't just about love anymore, it was about a family dinner, a sacred moment of togetherness.